the science guy. Bill Nye the science guy.
Guys, GameCube. Brand new hit device. It's 2006. We're getting nostalgic. I got pizza. Got GameCube. What games are we playing?
It's so cubical.
It looks so easy to transport.
It has that nice handle on the back.
I almost thought it was a lunchbox.
Is it not?
If you try hard enough, it can be. Anyway, yes, GameCube games. Introducing in order our first contestant.
Hello, I am the Mini Yeti. I am the Yeti VTuber. I am happy to be here.
Next, our returning favorite.
Meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow. Yeah.
She's so articulate.
Something like that. Anyway, the one of the OGs on the channel.
Indeed, I am Fexic. I was effectively raised on this cubicle console, so I feel like I've got a pretty good leg to stand on here.
The OG as in someone I've known pretty much my whole life.
It is I, Riggy. My only experience is through playing the Doc's GameCube. I tried convincing my parents to get me one, but I was outvoted, and I was given a PS2 instead.
Which we had plenty of memories on, so when we eventually do PS2 games, you know, show your stuff there. Anyway, Yeti, since we were just getting started, we're doing this 5 rounds, you're starting us off. Go ahead. Comments, everyone, viewers, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, because I gotta say all that stuff. Let us know who you think has the best list at the end, and what you would have picked. And yeah, alright, now you may go.
So, for my first game, I am picking a game very close to my heart. Metal Arms Glitch in the System.
Not heard of this game.
Nor have I.
Metal Arms Glitch in the System is a third-person shooter with a semi-ragdoll physics, a multitude of various items, weapons, and a somewhat unique story at the time. So you play as a character known as Glitch in a machine uprising against a evil group of machines, whose name escapes me at the moment because of course it does. Now, some of my fondest memories of this game in particular was me starting off a game, thinking, oh, this is going to be a very, very fun, robots. As a kid, you see robots in the pictures, first time robots, and oh boy, did this game deliver. Not only is this, for me at least, this game was hard as shit. I thought that was just a me thing. Apparently, no, that's not just a me thing. This game is just hard. This game has destructible limbs, so for example, if your arm gets hit, your arm will suddenly start... The best way I can describe it is go full ragdoll, and then you'll have to work with the fact that your arm can no longer point straight.
That sounds very fun. I like those types of physics in my games.
It does sound interesting. It reminds me of, I'm blanking, kind of like Fallout, I guess. There's something else in my mind that it's more similar to.
This game was also released on the Xbox original.
Alright, so we're only considering the GameCube version of this, but considering that I know nothing of the differences, viewers that know the differences, there you go, you can differentiate whether this version or the other version.
It does affect the multiplayer. In fact, the multiplayer has a way of unlocking levels. However, when this game came out, the only way to play all of the levels in the multiplayer is to use cheats because they did not add enough resources to unlock all of the multiplayer levels. The game's a bit broken, a bit clunky. The game does not work entirely all the time, but that's kind of the charm of it.
Okay, my turn. It's mine. I stole the spotlight. So anyways, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. You know him, you love him, we got the Ike, but I'm not here for Ike. I'm here for Leaf, because Leaf is the greatest cat. Path of Radiance is actually the first game in the Tellius duology. That's the word. You play through the game as Ike and crew, where Ike is put in charge of the Greil Mercenaries while going through basically every country in Tellius. I don't know what the world is actually called, but I'm going with Tellius. And you just go through and experience a great story. Ike learns about racism and how it's bad, has a war against people who are super racist, and even includes people on his team who, well, guess what? Are racists. but they grow and get better, and it's really, actually really nice. Also, bring back bonus XP.
If you want to learn about some of those races, go check out our Fire Emblem Females video.
I also like how Ike is the only commoner protagonist of any of those games, while all of the others are some kind of royalty, nobility, or like some kind of something. Ike is the only one who is just straight up like a born commoner making waves, and I'm here for it 100%.
Born and raised as a mercenary, Ike's one of the best. That's all I gotta say. We like Ike.
We do indeed like Ike. And on that jovial note, my first pick is going to be Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah, I don't honestly know how many people clamored for this sequel at the time of its release, but some of the fondest memories I have of the GameCube era can be traced back to it. Springboarding off the mechanics and premise of the original Smash Bros. For the N64, Melee was another welcome way to have your favorite characters from Nintendo's roster beat each other to paste while the crowd cheers for blood. And with the addition of 14 new characters, there was no shortage of punchables for you to serve your friends. And that's exactly what you did if you wanted to experience Melee to the fullest. Because while proving your eminent domination over clouds of ones and zeros was certainly satisfying, proving yourself to your immediate circle was even better. And this was back when your friends actually had to come over your place, or vice versa, if you wanted to have this sort of gameplay. I spent many a weekend or summer afternoon trading hits with my friends in a bid to see who was the best at this game in our group. Now, as far as actual gameplay goes, Melee kept the original mechanics of its 64 predecessor while adding a few of its own and polishing the system a bit. Smash attacks became chargeable, side B moves became a thing, and the advent of the Wave Dash exploit propelled the game to a new level of competitive play if you were into that sort of thing. And it wouldn't be one of my picks if I didn't mention the soundtrack. Nearly every track goes hard and flows well with its respective stages and characters. The remixes of popular tracks are typically well received, and the original ones composed for Melee itself stand out and stand on their own. It's a nice bow on a fun game that really tied together and kept the adrenaline pumping through every fight.
A very competitive game.
It is, and me and Greil used to play it a lot, and because we really only had each other to play with, and aside from a couple of friends here and there, it was mostly just me and him teaming together against two level 9 CPUs. I forget exactly like who are two like hard ones for.
And I was going to use this as a pivot point, but then Sam went and sniped my fucking choice. The Smash Melee version of Together We Ride from Fire Emblem is actually what got me excited to go and buy Path of Radiance, and then get super disappointed because that track does not feature in that game at all.
Still a really good song, and you can only get it on the Hyrule stage, despite the fact that, you know, not a Hyrule song.
Or you could just beat story mode with Martha Roy.
Either way. That is how they got introduced, which introduced... I don't know, Melee had a good roster of characters, too. Nothing too crazy, no one I felt like was filler, for the most part. Besides Pichu, I would say. Unless anyone has any more input here. Good. That means it's my turn. In terms of the games themselves, I think this is actually one of the better ones in the series, even though this is technically not even mainline. I'm going Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. One of my personal favorite Pokemon games. I still think it's one of the top tiers. You can argue with me whether you think this one or Colosseum is better. I still think this one is better over Colosseum. Simple sort of simple, not simple. Bad guys are corrupting Pokemon. You do not have every Pokemon available to you, but this does have Gen 1 through 3, which is nice. And Bonsly, this is when Bonsly first appeared, so because they like doing that back then. You're playing as some kid who gets a device, Snag'em device, and you go around, you know, checking, capturing, but you're essentially stealing Pokemon from people, which in itself is, you know, we still make ROM hacks based on that idea. Now this one, Cipher has kind of been dismantled, but also not really. They're still the bad guys. The battles are more intense, they're harder, all double battles for the most part. There's a couple single battles. So if you like double battles, this is your game. I personally prefer them for the most part, because it's fun. And the fact that you don't have, like, every Pokemon available to you, aside if you transfer them in. It's nice that you have to use Pokemon you probably wouldn't normally use. You get some really nice music, like, most of the soundtrack's really good. Of course, the big one standing out is the Mirror B theme. Everyone, like, if you've heard it, you know it. Not too much to say, if you know, Shadow Lugia, one of the coolest Pokemon designs. Pokemon, be bolder with your designs, please. There's Pokemon XD Gale Darkness. With that, Griggy.
Woohoo! Well, besides from Fexic, I have no idea what you guys were doing with your first round draft picks. You are supposed to be picking the best games first, which I will do now. Behold, Metroid Prime. This is, fun fact, the highest rated GameCube game of all time according to Metacritic. It was groundbreaking. It brought the Metroid world into 3D for the first time. It had deeply immersive world centered on exploration and atmosphere, rather than a lot of games at the time, which were more like fast-paced combat, like shoot 'em up or just knock around type games. And it also didn't necessarily rely on like a traditional story narrative. Obviously there was one, but it was more so just you trying to get through the game in this very creepy atmosphere. The Talon 4 was the name of the ship that you get to play the game on, and it was extremely detailed, especially for the time. Very meticulously crafted, and had a lot of very distinct environments. You'd think like, oh, you're just playing on a ship, like everything's going to look the same, but no, they were able to actually get a lot of different unique environments into this game, and it even got a remaster. I know technically the remaster wasn't for the GameCube, but it is the game that Metroid fans have been waiting for to get back into their series. This was probably my favorite Metroid game. I mean, I've only played 2, but this was definitely better than whatever the other one I played was, and it is just a really great time.
You specifically notice it with the power beam, but I think you can do it with the others too. If you're too close to a wall and you release like your power shot and it makes a bright flash, you actually see the reflection of Samus's like upper face on the back end of her visor.
Oh, that's a cool Easter egg. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you hold your power beam charge and you just let it loose at a wall when you're standing like 6 inches from the wall, like you see her eyes and like the bridge of her nose reflected in the visor. It's really cool.
Alright, for my next game, once again, I'm sticking with the theme of picking the best games. And that will be The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. I must admit, I personally hate this game. I think this game is ugly and stupid. However, the people of the GameCube community do not, and Griggy plays for the win. So, therefore, it is on my team. It definitely did have a very innovative style compared to the previous Legend of Zeldas, which I can respect. Totally new art style, totally new direction. You're just traveling between islands for the most part, which introduced like a totally new gameplay aspect. The cell shading, I'm not sure if there was a game before this, at least definitely not as popular, that had cell shaded graphics. So big kudos to the development team that went into making this and went ahead and were confident in that art decision. The story and themes were supposedly a little more mature, like growing up, parental sacrifice, and forging one's destiny. However, I wouldn't know because I never played it, and I hate this game.
That's a first. You pick a game that you don't even like, but I can respect that.
I kind of respect the boldness of the move, especially because I'm one of those GameCube community motherfuckers that actually likes this game. So you're actually, I think you're achieving your target effect here.
All right, back to you, Doc. The YouTube comments got my back if you guys don't.
Hopefully we'll start getting more of those now that I fixed some stuff. Anyway, my round 2. I'm going to go with the first game on the GameCube, the launch title. Plus, by the time this video comes out, it's getting pretty close to October, so you know what? Luigi's Mansion. Let me get the downsides out of the way first. It is short. You can beat this game within one sitting, between 3 to 5 hours if you know what you're doing. But this is like Luigi's first game on his own, for the most part, where he's like actually like a notable character, and it starts to actually give him a personality. This is like how it initializes him being scared, yet brave, because, you know, he's still going in Save Mario. It introduces like his kind of world. I still miss the designs of these old ghosts because they quickly kind of shelved them when they did Luigi's Mansion 2 and stuck with those designs. That's the boos. I mean, the boos are always the same for the most part. The boss ghost mechanic was cool. Again, something they got rid of in the later games for like kind of more regular looking bosses. But it was unique. Every room felt different. Like it was easy to navigate the mansion. Like every boss was a bit of a puzzle. So you had that, and if you didn't want to, you didn't have to go for all of them. The aspect of collecting the gold to get the best ranking was fun. So like the first time you obviously wouldn't know, but it's just a fun little cute game. It's a good entry horror game for people that either have a very low horror tolerance or for kids. Because I'm not gonna have a kid play Silent Hill. But yeah, if you want to do something, or at least like get your October started for Halloween, this is like a good cutesy game to do it with. And I like to affectionately refer to this game as a fishing game because that's what it feels like when you're trying to suck up the ghost. It feels like fishing. It's short, so that's bad. I want more.
Incorrect.
What do you mean no? I want more.
It's not bad. A good thing should leave you wanting.
But I wanted more, so no. Anyway, continue on. Going in circles here.
Indeed. And let's, I guess this would be considered a circle back because it's technically a return trip to a location in a previous game. We're gonna go with Pikmin 2. So they are fun, and this one is particularly good because while I enjoyed the first game, I did not like the 30-day time limit. Like, you have a fixed amount of time to get all the necessary parts of Olimar's ship to escape the Pikmin planet and effectively not die as he gets back to his family. This one starts off after the president of the freight company that Olimar works for realizes that artifacts taken from the Pikmin planet are worth exorbitant amounts of money. Like, I think it was like a bottle cap or something in the opening cutscene was worth about a year's salary at the freight company. So the company facilitates an expedition with Olimar and his junior employee Louis to go back to the Pikmin planet and uncover as many of these artifacts as possible to make the company filthy fucking rich. Eventually, you sub Louis out with the president himself, which really is just an aesthetic change as they all operate pretty much identically. But the Pikmin roster gets a nice little buff because you get the poisonous white Pikmin, who, as the descriptor implies, poison enemies that try to eat them, and you got the incredibly chonky purple Pikmin, which shake the ground and do extra damage when you throw them by landing on stuff. And funnily enough, following this up for Luigi's Mansion, while you are delving through caves and dungeons in this game, if you have a large enough company of Pikmin with you, they will actually start chirping the Luigi's Mansion theme.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of the many little tunes that they do, and one of them is an Easter egg to Luigi's Mansion.
If you have the exact even spread for all of them, it will play the tech demo music for Pikmin 2.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't always leave a dungeon with the same ratio of Pikmin that I go in, so it's entirely likely they came out singing a different tune, both figuratively and literally.
That's dark, but that was funny.
However, I have to appreciate Pikmin as a species because they are literally the payoff at the end of just bashing your head into something repeatedly, and I'm kind of here for it.
Moving on though, because we've been on this for a few minutes. So Sam,
I have to disagree with somebody on here because we're supposed to be picking the best games, right? And I just have to say, you picked the objectively worst game because the true best game of that series is Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess has an amazing story and is wonderful, especially if you're a furry.
Jesus.
It has a big open world.
And she went there.
A lot. Well, I am a furry. It has a lot of really cool locations. The art is fantastic. Not dissing Wind Waker. It has a good art style. Just the whole story coming together, a balance between light and darkness, working with Midna and her sassy little ass. Fuck you. Love you, bitch.
Like I said, when I start doing the supercuts, you guys, I will play when I play. You guys are join when you're able to. I'm not waiting for anyone when that comes around.
Fair enough.
Spoiler warning. It has Link in it.
Oh shit.
Sam, goddammit, you gave away the plot.
You've ruined the game. All right, Yeti, it's been too long. We need to hear from you.
All right, so the year is 2004, May 10th, 2004 to be exact. Around the time some other very popular Nintendo titles came out, like Melee or Pikmin, we are introduced to a more, I would say, darker game made by Nintendo. A post-apocalyptic game set in a distant future where you live on what is essentially a floating raft. I am, of course, talking about the legendary Custom Robo. Custom Robo, also known as Custom Robo Battle Revolution in Japan, was one of those games where you saw the title, you're like, ooh, explosions, you join the game, or I mean, you buy the game, you get into it, and you're like, oh my god, the story is absolutely amazing, which I won't get into too many spoilers on. I'll essentially be talking about the first couple minutes of the game, just to not spoil it. So you start out, the game starts off with a dream sequence, you talking to your dad, you move on from that, you wake up, you go to get your job as a mercenary. So anyways, you have to go help the police because they are bad at doing their job, and this becomes a running trend throughout the game. You get access to this thing called a commander, which is your robot. Now you may be wondering, how does the combat in this game work? Well, you see, you get this little cube, you then have mind battles with other people with these cubes. And if you win, you send them flying back like 3 or 4 feet, sometimes like 10 or 11. It is a arena-style shooter.
I love this pick. Zach, I don't know if you remember, but Custom Robo Arena.
Yeah, I was mentioned that before. We played it. We had the DS version, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm assuming this plays very similar because it was the precursor.
Yeah, so this you get like a bunch of different like main bodies, and then you can switch out the gun on your right hand, the bombs on your left hand, the wings on your back, and the thrusters on your legs. And much like the name of the game implies, you can have a fully customized robot that battles how you want at any given time. But yeah, it's also got a track called The Door to a Journey Unknown, which is good, and I think Yeti will agree with me without spoiling anything. The final boss is fucking terrifying.
It is hard as shit. I will say nothing else.
This is on my list. It's been on my list for a while because Chris put it on there.
It is.
Yeah,
it is the whole. This game is the whole reason why I want to join this draft list, is just to talk about Custom Robo, because I have sank a good 100 somewhat hours into this game.
Looking at this list so far, can you tell that Yeti likes mechs?
I will mention before we move on, Custom Robo is also a very confusing game because Custom Robo Battle Revolution, also known as Custom Robo in the US, is actually the third game in the series.
Now that I didn't know. Anyway, moving on.
For this one, I'll be talking about another game that is near and dear to my heart. I, of course, am talking about the legendary Alien Hominid. So, Alien Hominid is one of the first games one of the first games on the GameCube to use a lot of really crude humor, and it is one of those games that would sort of curtail what was and was not allowed to be in a video game, which paved a path for much more violent games later down the road. Alien Hominid is a hand-drawn arcade-style shooter with a custom cast of very unique characters, a very interesting slew of bosses. The game is hard as shit. You die 3 times, it's back to the beginning.
It's not a long game in terms of levels. It's got like 6 levels, I think, but yeah, you die in 1 hit, and there's a lot of stuff being thrown at you. It is, for a cartoon, you know, it's got that kind of like old addicting games, you know, some of those like more graphic games on there. It's kind of like that, yeah, where it's like silly graphic, like the aliens biting their heads off, there's blood and whatnot. I mean, it's the precursor to Castle Crashers, so if you play Castle Crashers, you sort of have an idea. Yes, and there's a DLC, or so, I forget how you get them, but you can play as the alien as well as fight them.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this game at all related to Battle Block Theater?
Yes.
Yes.
Same guys that made that. Although I don't think there's any direct connection between the two. Let's move it along. I think we were here a bit longer than we needed to be.
Yeah, it's not like we're gonna be here long enough for me to spawn a second one of me. Anyways, Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. this was actually my first experience with anything related to the Naruto franchise, and this introduced me, quote unquote, to the story. I had no idea what the fuck was going on, but I liked the cool snake in that one in the tuning exam arena thing. It was cool. I liked all the characters. I liked Haku. Nine-tailed Naruto was cool, and then like Sharingan Kakashi.
Just to flesh this out a bit more for Sam, basically you play through the initial arcs, everything up to the Chunin exam and beating Gaara, although it is a bit of a watered-down version of it. The combat, decently simple. It's a bit more complex than like the most basic of fighters, but in terms of like overall fighters, it is on the simple side, and it is like a pseudo... It's like Tekken in that way. It's not like an arena fighter, but it's not like a 2D fighter at the same time, so...
Having watched the actual anime as an adult later in life, years and years after, probably over a decade after I played this game, I could see where the story was trying to take me. It did not explain any of it, though. I thought Gaara was actually a villain for the longest time.
Well, he was at that point. Regardless, though, going back on the game's pretty solid. In terms of fighters, if you want something a bit on the simple side, go ahead. I mean, it was a good time then. Nowadays, I don't feel the need to replay this one, but, you know. Anyway, yeah, and there's a couple other side modes you can do with this one. Nothing too crazy, though, but let's move it along, because I feel like we're sticking, again, kind of long on this one.
Indeed. Then I'm gonna go with Pokemon Coliseum. So, Gen 3 was my favorite, so when they gave it a 3D game with its own interesting plotline and characters, you know 12-year-old me was excited. Set in the arid Aura region, this game comes about as close as Pokemon has ever been willing to let you play as a bad guy as your protagonist Wes, even if said bad guy was in the process of turning code on his bad guy buddies in the opening cutscene. That said, Wes still looks like your average Pokemon game's evil team boss, and he just committed theft against his former comrades in the form of the Snag Machine, a device built for the sole purpose of stealing other trainers' Pokemon mid-battle. That, however, is about where the bad streak ends, as Wes is more or less neutral good for the remainder of the story. After meeting and teaming up with the psychic girl Rui, who can see Pokemon who have had their hearts forcibly closed and emit the malicious black aura of shadow Pokemon, they endeavor to stop the machinations of the evil Cipher organization. With Rui's eyes and Wes's ability to snag the organization's Pokemon, it's just the wrench in the works that Cipher doesn't want. They're out to rule the world with an army of soul-deprived animals bent on violence, and they don't have time for any meddling kids. Unfortunately for them, as the story moves along, we're shown that time and time again, meddling kids are the kryptonite of grown-ass adults corrupted by power and greed. The free battle mode in the post-game is where this really shines for me, because it's here where you can bring in your teams from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald to make their 3D debut. But where this really comes to a head is the size of the Pokemon. They made them accurate to the size silhouettes in the Gen 3 games, which makes matchups like, say, Wailord versus Plusle absolutely side-splitting with just how juxtaposed they are in scale. This, combined with the cool 3D move animations, is enough to keep you coming back for more battles, even when the base game is over and done with.
I did like that this gave a little spotlight to the, you know, everyone says dogs, the beasts, whatever we want to call them, but it gives them a little bit of something, because prior to this, they didn't really have anything. They themselves don't do much here, but the fact that they are, like, kind of a plot point is still neat.
The fact that Evil Team admins come at you with legendary Pokemon in the first place was kind of groundbreaking at the time.
That is still pretty crazy to think, if you think about it that way, yeah. Still, if you like this one, or if you like XD and you haven't played Coliseum, you'll probably like Coliseum, vice versa, one or the other. They're both solid games. Anyway, we're in the middle here. I'm going to move along here, and I'm going to choose my one kind of stray game that probably no one here has heard of, because I played this for my channel, and it was interesting. I think, you know, at least 2 people might find this interesting, maybe 3, but I'm going with a game called Lost Kingdoms. Let me tell you, first of all, the cover, a little deceiving. I'll explain in a second. But, fun fact, this is by FromSoft, aka the Dark Souls guys.
Fucking of course.
Which I find extremely interesting. This is obviously before they started doing Dark Souls.
I knew this looked familiar. That's how I know it.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So, first, it's kind of like Falsebound Kingdoms, but in this, you have cards, and you kind of rotate through them, and those cards are your monsters. Now, the plot is nothing special. You're a princess. You're trying to save your kingdom. Blah 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 blah. The plot itself is nothing crazy. But it's just the gameplay being so unique in the fact that, like, you get these monsters, you can buy cards, you can find them, and it has a very, for the most part, until the end game, a very neutral scaling. And there's some cards that do direct attacks, some cards. I just wanted to bring this one up more or less because it's such a unique concept that I haven't quite seen in many other games. The only other thing I know of is I think it's Kuon. I forget what. There's like a horror game on the PS2 that has a similar idea. But there is a Lost Kingdoms 2. I haven't played it yet, but it might be better. But yeah, I just wanted to throw this one out there, kind of, because like, what else am I gonna bring this up? But all right, that's really all I had to say about this one. I would kind of look into this one yourself. I don't remember all the details. It's been a little bit since I played, but I just kind of wanted to shout this game out. Anything else?
I mean, still looks worth looking into, and the way you described it, it sounds like a mashup between Falsebound Kingdom and Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
I haven't seen Chain of Memories, so I could not tell you, but maybe.
Card-based combat system.
Alright, and it's not too long. You can beat this in like 6 hours. Beware, though, the final, like, boss area is a son of a bitch. I will give you heads up on that if you play this game. It is agonizing. Everything else is fine, it's just that last bit that's a pain in the ass. Anyway, Griggy.
Thank you. Now, I present to you what I found during my research, which did surprise me, is rated officially by multiple outlets as the greatest video game of all time. It is Resident Evil 4. Yep. It was, for some fun stats that I noted down, in the book 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die. Maybe some of the viewers on YouTube might be getting nostalgia flashbacks from Scholastic book fairs and getting that book. But it was ranked in there as one of the 1001 games you must play before you die, and IGN readers in 2008, it won its reader poll as being the best video game of all time. And then another outlet called Edge placed it second in their 2007 list of greatest video games of all time. And then the most recent ranking that I could find that like seemed the people that made it actually cared was in 2025. Rolling Stones released a list of the greatest video games, and they put it as the 27th all time, which is still pretty amazing.
Again, I haven't played any of the Resident Evil games, but I know people love this game, and it's part of why it now has a modern remake, and it has so many different like re-releases on consoles because people just love this game so much.
Definitely one of the best games that I would go back and play on GameCube if I spawned in tomorrow with a GameCube in my hands, just because I love this type of game. I love shooters, obviously, you know that, Doc, and I like horror movies, so this would be a great game to get to replay through and just experience for the first time. Anyone out there watching it, definitely go out and play it, because you will not be unsatisfied.
I believe both this and the remake are on Steam, so.
Did Billy and Mandy make
Next
that joke?
on the list, this one I can 100% say was one of the most fun times I had playing on Doc's GameCube, and that would be Mario Kart Double Dash. A great entry into the legendary Mario Kart franchise. This introduced having multiple riders and being able to switch between them with the items that they were holding. Each rider presented its own cards, its own, different stat combinations and stuff like that. It was really fun, and they really did a good job executing the concept. It didn't feel like you were just, picking two characters that would ride together and, that was it. They really did spend time making it feel like you had two separate characters that you were in control of at any time. Courses I thought were really fun. The battle courses also fun. Can remember the Luigi's Mansion.
And fun fact, this game has LAN mode, which I can only imagine playing this with like 16 people, like how that would be.
Oh God.
Yeah, like I can only imagine how that must have felt if anyone got to actually do that. You missed the Mario Kart tracks draft list. I did that one a while ago. Anyway, but let's move it on. This is a good game. Good game. I also had it like on my list of things. I'm gonna go with. That way I can use it in the titles, and hopefully, you know, we can snipe some credit off this. I'm going with Kirby Air Ride.
Oh.
You took too long. You had every opportunity to pick it.
That was gonna be the last pick of the whole draft. Everyone was gonna end with a tear in their eye. No.
Well, you took too long. Kirby Air Ride. So, there's two reasons, well, not really two, but like one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because it is finally, after all these years, getting a second game. After like 20 years.
Woohoo!
So, for those that don't know or haven't seen any of the trailer stuff, it's very simple. You play as Kirby, you ride on his different stars. Also can unlock Meta Knight and King Dedede to play as. They are pretty much just themselves, and they have the hammer and sword ability respectively. But anyway, 3 different modes. You have Air Ride mode, which is just your typical races. Most of the tracks are fine. They're nothing too crazy. There is Top Ride, which is kind of like playing with RC carts. I never really liked this mode. I don't think most people do. And then the main mode, which I think was initially made to be the side mode, it was City Trial. That's where you spent like every minute playing this game. That's where it was. It had a bunch of different mini games at the end. So you would get like the Air Ride races in there and a bunch of other stuff like Target, Flight, but I'm skipping some stuff. Anyway, City Trial, you can play with up to 4 people. You have to have at least 2. And you have... it's set to 5. We would usually set it to the max of 7 just because it was that much fun just driving around this city area with a bunch of different little locations. You know, you have a volcano, you have rails you can take, a forest and whatnot, and there's all little secrets everywhere. You get these little stat boosters. The goal is to kind of get whatever air ride you want and boost your stats as high as you want to go. Controls in this are simple. It is just the control stick and A. That is all you need. So if you have a controller that, you know, the B button doesn't work, that's fine. Just press A. I guess you do need the B button for the menus, but outside of that, it has a whole checklist where you can unlock things, which is cool because this is one of the earliest games to do something like that. So it basically has in-game achievements, which do unlock more stuff in the game for you. It is one of the most fun multiplayer games that you could really get. Still keep the copy abilities, you get all to and then, like I said, there's a bunch of different mini games after you beat City Trial, or not finish, but after the 7 minutes, it goes to the stat screen, shows you all the stats that everyone's got, and then you get a random minigame. You can set it after you've unlocked the minigame for the first time, but it is random. So if you have been getting, you know, speed the whole time for a drag race or whatever, and it ends up being a flight-based minigame, like that, those stats meant nothing. It's really like RNG, but it is like the most fun RNG, just run around, smacking each other and doing what you want. I highly recommend playing this, because if you just want to relax and chill with some friends, this is the best way to do it, because like it's almost impossible to rage at this game. Moving along.
Yep, and now that we are, I can look back to your previous entry, your Luigi's Mansion one, and I can safely say, step aside, little bro. Super Mario Sunshine. But having just gotten back from a vacation at the time of this recording, I can safely say that we all need one from time to time. And if I can say that as a cynical working-class American, I can only imagine how necessary R&R becomes when you're the savior of the Mushroom Kingdom and virtually tied to the princess's hip at all times. And I dread to imagine how devastated such a one would become if they were forced to work on their vacation. Enter Super Mario Sunshine, the game where you play as Mario on vacation, but not really. Having been framed by a mysterious doppelganger spreading toxic goopy paint all over the idyllic Isle Delfino, Mario is charged with polluting the island and forced to clean up the entire place. He's aided in this endeavor by Flood, the Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dowsing device, who incidentally is made by the same Professor E. Gadd who features in Luigi's Mansion and built Luigi's vacuum cleaner. With water as your weapon and the old Jumpman moves from Super Mario 64, Mario takes on a new laundry list of threats as he uncovers the truth about his malicious doppelganger, and gets to the bottom of the scourge plaguing Isle Delfino. This one stands out to me in particular because it was the only time in my childhood I ever participated in a sweepstakes. Toonami had I believe it was the Trapped in Hyperspace sweepstakes that offered a copy of this game with a GameCube, and it was the only time I ever entered and tried to win anything like that. I didn't win, and eventually went on to just get the game myself after I'd had the GameCube for a little while, but it's a fond memory from a time when I actually got excited about stuff on the regular.
So the reason I didn't pick this game myself is because I know how divisive this is among people. Just because there's a lot of things that, I mean, there's certain levels that just don't work as intended, or are just extremely difficult for no reason. Specifically the Pachinko being a notable broken one, and the River of Death for no reason being a hard one. But outside of that, I really do love this game. The aesthetic is great. It does theming so well because every area that you go to is so appropriate for like a summer vacation or summer island. You have a harbor, you have a beach, you have a hotel, like a remote kind of village. It hits the nail on the head when it comes to atmosphere. As much as I appreciate this pick, we gotta move on. So I believe it's back to Sam.
Hey, you said get out of the way, little brother? Well, get out of the way, puny human, because the king is coming, and he's gonna destroy all monsters.
Oh.
Godzilla, destroy all monsters. It's a Dorito Finer that actually introduced me to many of the actual, like, kaijus from the Godzilla franchise. While it's not the first game I ever played myself, that would be the one on the Game Boy Advance specifically. This one's the one I put the most hours into. Whether it be playing the story mode, fighting against my brother, or secretly putting in cheats and then destroying my brother with Destroyer because it's funny. Put in unlimited ultimates and
you monster.
And yes, we are monsters.
That is the point.
I will mention, Destroyer could kind of break the game in this one. In this game and in Unleashed, Destroyer's singularity, if you fire 2 of them and the person happens to somehow get caught in both of them, they will be sent out of bounds.
Oh, I remember. I remember you bringing this up before.
Because you get a negative integer.
How the fuck do you... Okay.
Gotta look that one up.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the first game bugs that I discovered on my own, and then found out that it was a popular bug later.
Again, might have to give this one a second chance, but now, Yeti.
Alright, for my next entry, I am talking about yet another obscure game, go figure. I'm of course talking about one of the, in my personal opinion, one of the greatest bullet hells of all time, the legendary Ikaruga. Ikaruga, the combat mechanics of Ikaruga are very unique for a bullet hell. Normally with bullet hells, you have to avoid shots. Ikaruga actually encourages that you don't do that. So you can switch between the dark and light mode, or as the game calls it, the black and white mode, which can allow you to absorb black and white shots. These shots will give you a boost that will give you the ability to perform either a single ultimate attack or a wide spreading ultimate attack.
Lost your steam there for a second. But yeah, it sounds simple, but it's not as simple as it sounds because eventually they start throwing so many mixes of the 2 colors at you that it's hard to know, like it almost becomes a rhythm game at some point. This is still a solid game today, and if you can get the chance to play it, I also recommend this one.
That and it has been re-released so many times, so if you don't want to look for the GameCube version, you can find this on Steam, the Xbox Store, and the PlayStation Store, as well as the Switch.
Okay, final round. Make your final hit a good one.
Alright, I have a game that is near and dear to my heart personally, but I highly doubt it is a game any of you have played. If somebody here has played it, I will be impressed to say the least. I am, of course, talking about Space Raiders. So, Space Raiders is one of those games where it takes your traditional top-down shooter like Galaga, Centipede, and such like that, or well,
it's Space Invaders. It is a 3D Space Invaders, is what it is.
Correct. Space Raiders is, as you said, a 3D Space Invaders, but this one features unique boss fights, some pretty good multiplayer options, and some dry humor and somewhat witty dialogue between characters. I will mention the opening cutscene starts out with a death count that is rivaled only by Earth Defense Force.
Oh, I'm just realizing there's a game that we haven't picked that someone's gonna be pissed that we haven't picked it. There's still time for someone to pick it, but I know I won't because I haven't played it yet. I feel like the only person that's possible to pick it is Greedy based on what he's doing, or Sam. And I don't know if Sam's even thinking about it. I guess we'll see here in a second, won't we?
After all, I do have 3 games in my backups that have not been selected.
Well, then...
But those aren't my backups. Those aren't the ones that I'm picking. In fact, the one I'm picking is actually very obscure. I would be surprised if any of you have played it. So, this comes from the legendary studio... Yes, I'm stealing this from Yeti. The legendary studio that brought you Grand Theft Auto 5, and Grand Theft Auto 5, and Grand Theft Auto 5 Online,
You're
and
funny,
Grand
don't
Theft Auto 4. Yeah, so from Rockstar, we get Smuggler's Run, Warzone. So this is a game where you play as a smuggler to bring contraband from one location to another. The concept is very simple. It's just a car game. It's like races, fights, like a bunch of different things. And I never played the story. I never cared for it. Instead, I played. Me and my brother played multiplayer in free play, and just did hide and seek, where I would always pick the smallest car. Well, each car has its own has 2 abilities mapped to the Y and X button. My favorite was the smallest one, the one that had boost and invisibility. It was a fun time. My brother hated whenever I hid in the ice mountainy area that is in like the top left corner of one of the maps, because our goal was to tag each other, and I am really good with ice physics. In fact, this game made me extremely good with ice physics.
Yeah, never heard of this, so I got no opinion on this one at all.
I cannot recommend it because I've never played the story.
Incidentally, that's how I am with GTA 5. Spent numerous hours online, never played the fucking story.
I'm curious if someone's just gonna pick the game I'm thinking about, because if not, someone's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, Mario almost made the final slot. It was neck and neck there for a minute. But even with the turbo nozzle, he is just too slow.
Okay.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So this was my introduction to this franchise. Several of the characters need no introduction, however, this game is known for 2 notable new assets, and that's just with Rouge.
God damn it, I was gonna make the joke and you beat me to it.
Yeah, nope, beat you to it, but this game was the introduction to Rouge the Bat and Shadow the Hedgehog, or at least the original Sonic Adventure 2 was. The difference between this game and that one was a graphics update, which I'm sure many fans were grateful for, and the multiplayer mode, which if you went through all of the missions and got A rank on all 5 missions in a level, you actually unlocked a alternate outfit for that character in Versus mode. But the gameplay was split up with your speedier levels, played between Sonic and Shadow, your treasure hunting levels, played between Knuckles and Rouge, and then your slightly slower paced but still like level progression based shooting levels with Tails and Eggman. And if the main plot, which while good, if that didn't do it for you and the Versus mode didn't do it for you, you will lose hours, possibly months, maybe even years of your life in the Chow Garden. That is not a speculative statement, that is, I'm sure, somewhere statistically proven. Like, somewhere there is a person who started when this game came out and they just straight up have not left. Like Amazing Digital Circus, but Sonic. Yeah, but this was, I remember I went over to my friend's house when I was a kid, he was playing this, I'm like, oh cool, like what's this? Like Sonic, I've never heard of that before. And it ended up being like one of the first things I went out and got. I think it was Gauntlet Dark Legacy, then Mario Sunshine, then this. Like, this was one of the first 3 games that I owned, and I played the absolute hell out of it when I was a kid.
I'm trying to think if it was this game or a different one. Is this the one where if you got A rank on every mission, you unlocked Green Hills?
Yes, yeah. In addition, yeah, so if you do So say like all of Sonic's levels, if you get A rank on all 5 missions in all of Sonic's levels, you get a bonus outfit as Sonic in Versus Mode. If you do that with all 6 characters, then you unlock a 3D version of the Green Hill Zone.
That's, I mean, nice, but that's a pain in the ass. Son of a bitch, Chris. I was thinking about picking, I'm gonna move on, but I was thinking about picking Sonic Heroes, but I have talked about that previously, so I was hoping someone else was gonna pick it, so I'm gonna leave it, let it be noted. If Chris didn't pick Sonic Battle, or Sonic 2, I probably would have picked it here. Anyway, going to my turn. There's a good couple games I could pick here. This is not the best game on the GameCube. It's not even the best game in its series, but it's my personal favorite. Mario Party 5. Because I hate my friends. It's Mario Party, I shouldn't have to explain this, but in case I do, you have multiple boards. The concept of 5 is it's all dreams, so you get different like dreamlands. You have a pirate dream, you have a toy dream, sweets dream, which is like cakes and stuff. So you get nice themes there. The mini games, you know, you get a good variety of 4-player, 2v2, 1v1, 1v3 and such. Bowser mini games. This game actually has a story. And while the story isn't important at all, you do get some fun Bowser minigame. Bowser fight at the end, that's pretty fun. It's Mario Party. You do also get the fun thing that this game actually does is it uses the stars from Paper Mario. And they are like your option menus and everything, and they're kind of like taking you everywhere. There is a fun little side mode called the Garage Mode, where you can like build your own vehicles of all like different parts and stuff. You can use it to go into combat with someone else. It's just a fun little add-on, and you get this little board game on the side that you can play. Get some beach ball, get some it was hockey was the other one. Hockey wasn't that good, I'll admit. But I don't know. I was gonna pick Sonic Heroes. I probably should have picked Sonic Heroes, but I'm going with Mario Party 5 just because like, oh, I wanted to.
Everything you just highlighted is all well and good, but it does not change or excuse the fact that this series destroys bonds and friendships in a way that would give Sasuke Uchiha wet dreams.
Yeah, why do you think I want to play it with you guys? Yeah, I know Mario Party's not a favorite, but I played this a lot. I don't know. I wanted to. I really feel like I'm not gonna get another chance to talk about Mario Party 5 at all ever again past this. So I wanted to throw something here. It's either gonna be this or one of several other games. And unfortunately, like I said, I owned a GameCube, but we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I didn't. My GameCube library isn't huge. Anyway, Riggy, finish it up.
All right. Well, with the last pick to complete my already perfect team, there are a lot of choices that I could make. Seriously though, I could pick Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. I could pick Star Wars, The Rogue Squadron. Both fantastic games. However, I must go for the nostalgia bait within my own heart, and I must pick the original Animal Crossing. This game used to be, or this franchise used to be, one of the greatest franchises of all time, until they removed the ability to have villagers actually be mean to you. That is lame.
Yeah.
But the original and Wild World on the Nintendo DS, it really did feel like an actual town. You could have villagers that you despised and would do anything to get them to move out. You could place things on the ground around their house to spite them. You could betray people and not have them or not show up to events that they invite you to. You could just chill out and spend an afternoon fishing and fossil hunting and collecting little bugs, all while listening to a beautiful and scenic soundtrack.
I think people are going to be mad that we didn't pick Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
It was between this and Thousand Year Door, but the nostalgia got me.
Yeah. So, to the rankings. So, Yeti, you're the first to go, so you're the first to go.
So, starting out going from left to right. Sam, I have played both Twilight Princess, Clash of Ninjas 2, and Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. All three of those, absolutely amazing games. Fexic, I have played Pikmin 2, Pokemon Coliseum, Mario Sunshine. I haven't played Adventures 2 yet. I want to, though. Doc,
good.
I have played Pokemon XD, Luigi's Mansion. I have not played Kirby Air Rise. However, it is my brother's favorite game series, which is why points for that one. Mario Party 5 was one of my first Mario Party games that I really got into.
Take it.
Great. Love Legend of Zelda. Love Metroid. I have never played Resident Evil 4. I keep being told I have to. Mario Kart Double Dash. Absolutely loved it. Never played the original Animal Crossing. I will be putting Sam in gold.
Usually start from bottom to top, but sure.
The Yeti sees from the top of the mountain.
I will then be putting Doc in silver
Okay.
and Fexic in bronze.
Cool beans.
The Reddit will hear about this.
All right. So, I basically picked my list with good games / games I've played. So, with that being said, Yeti. So, Custom Robo, I hear, is a great game. All right, now for the next person. Next up on my list is Griggy, because the only game I gave a positive ranking to was Metroid Prime.
Oh, that's a bit of a hater move right there.
It's not a hater move. I've only played Metroid Prime and not even that much of it. Next up, the person who has 2 points on my list. Doc.
I feel like you never rank me high anymore. What kind of breakup did we have that you do this to me?
I didn't do anything. You're in second place. Look, I played Pokemon XD Smiley Edition. Luigi Mansion, I heard, is a good game.
Yeah, I get, for even horror babies, you should be able to handle it.
I played the arcade game.
An arcade game?
Yeah, there's an arcade game.
I didn't know
It's
that.
rare. Meeting us at the top of the list, we got Chris, who, I've actually played 4 of the games on your list.
Nice.
Nor do I plan to ever touch Pikmin.
The purple Pikmin are chunky lads.
That they be. Now, what will be your rankings?
That was awful.
I know, tell me about it.
I gotta work on it a little bit. But unfortunately, gotta play things similar to you, just for games I play, games I were exposed to, and Doc. Sorry, my man.
I'm feeling oppressed right now.
It was like, you had me at XD, you had me at Luigi's Mansion, Lost Kingdom, I didn't know about, but it sounds interesting enough to look into.
You'll probably like
I
it.
have never been a fan of Air Ride or any of the Mario parties, if I'm being brutally honest.
But what I'm hearing is you hate fun. Got it.
That actually reminds me.
Make a mental.
That's what I'm hearing too.
whatever willingness I might have had in my soul to play any kind of Mario Party with you or anyone else died the day we played Dokapon Kingdom.
That was different though. Dokapon Kingdom. I mean that did hurt, but I blame MJ more than anything for that.
Oh yeah, MJ's a very convenient scapegoat, but my point still stands.
Now that's some real hater energy right there.
Well, on the topic of hater energy, it is unfortunate that I have to put Griggy at bronze, because you did have many titles on here, particularly all but one of them, that being Resident Evil 4, that I have both played and enjoyed, but your rubric for selecting them being for popularity and not your personal choices be keeping me at an emotional distance.
To be fair, I think I've only played like 3 GameCube games in my life, so
And they're
Which
all
is
with
fair.
me.
The reason for your rubric is understandable, but I am nonetheless a fan of authenticity, and I feel that is the one thing that your list was lacking.
the Reddit will hear about you as well.
I'm sure they will. Certain parts of it already know me. Silver, we are going with Yeti.
Nice.
So I have played ad nauseum and enjoyed Custom Robo. I've played a little bit of Alien Hominid and enjoyed it. Ikaruga is just fun, and again, it was my introduction to Rage Quit, which was an introduction to a whole bunch of other fandoms, so that was fun. Space Raiders, kind of indifferent, and Metal Arms Glitch in the System, while I have not played it personally, it sounded interesting, so there is that. Finally, that brings us to the gold spot, and that is where Sam is going to sit.
This feels wrong.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, because you haven't
Because-
been given gold by anyone in recent months.
I know.
Yeah. Smuggler's Run was really the only one where, even though I have zero exposure to it, you still managed to spin it in such a way where it sounded entertaining. The other 4, like, if anything, Clash of Ninja 2 may have been the weakest contender, and that's just because of the simplistic playstyle, but Destroy All Monsters, Melee, Twilight Princess, and Path of Radiance, just gold stars all around.
Guess that means it's my turn. And in last place, because I've kind of already got this figured out. Yeti.
Fair enough.
Metal Arms, I know nothing about. It sounded interesting, but you were a little shaky in your explanation in the beginning, so notes. Remember notes next time. Custom Robo, I already know how good it was on the DS. I can only assume the GameCube one is at least as good. I do want to play that. Alien Hominid, at least that one I'm familiar with because I played the HD version. I'm assuming it's basically the same game, besides it just looks a little better. That being said, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because it was unnecessarily hard. Ikaruga is probably the one I actually liked the most, besides Custom Robo, because I haven't played that one yet. I'm kind of considering it one of the best. But Ikaruga, it was fun. Again, hard, but it was unique. And Space Raiders, I have a negative connotation because the review I've seen of it. I'll give it a chance myself. Maybe that'll change my opinion, but at the moment, that's the one I'm like kind of really shaky on. Going third is going to be Sam. I like Fire Emblem. Haven't played Path of Radiance, but I like Ike, so that's a good thing. Twilight Princess.
Like it.
Again, haven't played, but I've seen the art style, so I know a little bit about it. It looks nice. Don't know really much about it outside of that. Class of Ninjas 2, I liked as a kid. I know what Chris said, it's kind of more in the simple style in terms of gameplay, so replayability is not that high. I've said it before, Godzilla. I really wanted to like that game, but it just didn't feel good to me. So I may have to give that one a second shot. And Smuggler's Run, I'm sorry, but it sounded very uninteresting.
I can't recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, when you say that, it kind of really hurts it.
Look, this is a personal taste.
Which is fine.
I'm not playing to win. I got gold twice by accident.
That being said, second for me will be probably Griggy.
Yay.
Because Metroid Prime is one of those games I'm excited to play, but I haven't played it yet. I actually prefer the Wind Waker art style to the Twilight Princess art style, because I like the more colorful look that it has. Whether you like it or not, again, haven't played it yet, though, so maybe when I play it, I might not like this much. We'll see. Resident Evil, I have been really getting into horror games and playing a lot and watching horror movies and stuff, so I'm excited to get back and try that one again. Double Dash, we spent so many hours on it, and when me and the guys replayed it for the channel and did stuff, that was a good time. It's just always going to be a solid Mario Kart entry and a unique one, and still has some pretty solid courses and baby. And then the original Animal Crossing is not the one we played, so I'm not nostalgic for that one in the same way, but it is essentially the same game between the two, so it's passed in that regard. But I haven't played it myself, and I feel no need to play the original. Maybe I will, but as it stands, that was probably the weakest thing on your list for me. So obviously that gives Chris another second place, which I'm happy about. But I really love Melee. That's again probably the one I played the most of. It's either my first or second most hours between them. Pikmin 2, I heard is better than 1. That's the other one I really want to play. Pikmin just looks fun to me. I really want.
It's another case of the sequel just improving on every aspect of the original.
Yeah, which I've heard. Coliseum, I already said I prefer XD, but it is more or less the same. I don't know what it is, but something about Coliseum doesn't sit fully right with me. I know it's not West, it's something with the villain group. Sunshine, again, in terms of the Mario 3D games, probably lower on that overall list, but still for me a personal favorite. And then Sonic Adventure 2, I haven't played it. I personally, I hate this game without even having played it, but I'm gonna play it, and my opinion will probably change when I eventually.
By the time you're done, you will give it 2 assets, thumbs way up.
I'm down now. But also, yeah, that was probably your weakest one for me, and maybe followed by Coliseum. I don't know what my problem with Coliseum is. Completely a me thing, though.
Give it time. You can play as Metal Sonic in the multiplayer.
All right, with that leaves Griggy, and I'm gonna have to calculate the points after the fact because.
Woohoo! All right, my ratings will be pretty simple. Unfortunately, Sam, you come in last place because I have only even heard of one of the games that you put on your list.
I know,
That being Twilight Princess. So yeah, could not really relate to anything, and also yeah,
I just wanted to be Chris,
that's kind of it.
and I failed.
Next, unfortunately, despite picking an absolute banger in Custom Robo, I have not heard of any other games on this list. Well, that's a lie. I did hear of Alien Hominid, but I don't like Castle Crashers, so that counts as a negative for me. So, sorry, Yeti. But you do get a medal, so be happy. Next, Doc, you picked Mario Party, and I hate Mario Party because, as you know, I am the most unlucky person to ever touch any Mario Party game. I will never get a star in my life. I'm just resigned to that fact. Beyond that, though, Fexic, your 5 were just all awesome games. Melee was going to be my first pick, but unfortunately, you picked before me. Pikmin 2 was also on my list. Mario Sunshine, also on my list. And then Pokemon Coliseum, while I've never gotten to play it, I have watched people speedrun it, and it did always look like a fun time. And in my personal opinion, it looked more fun than Pokemon XD did during all the playthroughs that I've seen of it. So, you win in my book, and I will make sure the Reddit hears about that.
Bubble, give me a drum roll.
With 7 points in last place is Yeti. At this point, Yeti, I want to give you the honorable win because you're the one that pissed me off right now.
Thank you. Question mark?
In fourth, with 8 points, is Griggy. That newcomer bonus has worn off. You get 1 free win, and that's it.
The YouTube comments will have my back.
In third place is me, despite getting second in 3 categories, whatever, 10 points. I'm fucking mad. Not even because of this list, but just because of fucking Sam calculations. Speaking of Sam with 11 points, you don't get a bonus point. And Chris, for the person that's pissed me off, the second least amount, whatever, 14 points for first.
Yeah, it comes with being a smartass. I'll take it.
Not the most egregious or the most celebrated award ceremony, but take it.
Hey, I'll still take it.
I knew picking Mario Party was a bad idea.
And with that, I will likewise take the GameCube because it is small and compact and it has a handle on the back.
What the shit? I brought that. You don't get to take that. This wasn't an award.
Look at the points, my dude. They speak otherwise. Gimme.
For sure. You have the GameCube, and you can also pick up the tab with pizza. We'll see you guys next time.
I have a sword that ate lightning. Zach, don't fucking cross me, dude.